Ja klar, warte ich. Ist einfach witzig. Ja, ich dachte...
Allez, il faut accélérer, monseigneur.
Mika Salo, nice to see you back here at Monaco. You must be especially disappointed to miss this race because you've always gone so well here.
Yeah, it's mixed feeling. It's nice to be on holiday also, but I really had a good race here every year. I love the circuit. It's really great, and but like I said, it's nice to have a holiday also sometime.
Now, testing in the Toyota hasn't gone so well for you. I believe you had an accident recently. Are you now fully recovered?
Yeah, not completely. I have a couple more weeks, and then I start driving again. And I just want to build the muscles. And for 2 months, I haven't done anything, and just I had to lay down and take care of it. So it's getting there.
And the team's recently taken on one of our favourite people, Gustav Brunner. Is he making an impact?
Gustav is really good. I had a couple meetings with him already, and he put things happening straight away. And I think we're going to work quite well together. So I can't wait to start driving and have some new people around.
Look forward to seeing Australia next year. Thanks, Mika.
Low fuel, so okay. It's a bit pain.
Allora intanto vedete una vettura che sta ufficialmente aprendo il circuito sulla vettura sopra il principe Alberto, accompagnato dalla quale dall'ex presidente che potete salutare con
lap 63 at Monaco, 15 to go. What are the points positions? Well, it is looking, subject to reliability, like being a crushing 1-2 for Ferrari. As you watch the flying David Coulthard showing us what he could have done if only he had got away well at the start. Ferrari first and second, and Eddie Irvine is still in that superb third position for Jaguar. As I said before, Eddie Irvine with Ferrari and with Jaguar has had second, third and fourth places at Monaco, and it looks as though with luck and good fortune he's going to be able to make another third place. Jacques Villeneuve fourth for BAR to give them points. Jean Alesi fifth for Prost, and David Coulthard in sixth position, potentially with a World Championship point. He's lapping 2.5 seconds faster than Alesi, but he's going to need at least 6 or 7 laps to catch the Prost.
Yeah, sorry to spoil that story though, Murray, but Alesi's already made his pit stop, so Coulthard, amazingly, on lap 64, still hasn't had to pit, so he was carrying a lot of fuel, and once again it confirms that McLaren have a bigger fuel tank than Ferrari, and that'll pay dividends a little bit later on in the season at Monza and Hockenheim and places like that. But Coulthard's major headache really more is Jenson Button, because Button's behind him 18-odd seconds, but he has already stopped, so Coulthard does have a chance of a point, but I think any more than a point will rely on others falling off or breaking down.
Yeah, as ever with Monaco, it's going to be a case of who finishes, and we're not going to know that for another 14 laps, including the one they're on. 14 2.1 mile laps as Kimi Raikkonen getting experience all the way in the Sauber. He is last, and there's 10 people left. He's been lapped 5 times, Kimi Raikkonen, of this 2.1 mile circuit. So 10.5 miles ahead of him is Michael Schumacher leading the race, and in walks Tarso Marquez, the Brazilian Minardi driver, who's already had 3 failures to finish this season. He drove in champ car races in America last year and the year before. He had driven as a protege of Crichton Browns in Formula One before, but he hasn't shown the promise this year that we thought he had. Kimi Raikkonen rounds the Rascasse. Now the gap between Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello, and it'll stay that way to the end of the race, provided that they both finish it, and I'm very careful about that caveat, is just about 10 seconds. Eddie Irvine is actually catching Rubens Barrichello in front of him, but there's a 40-second gap between the two of them. And if Irvine can finish in third position, the flags will really be waving at Coventry and everywhere else where Jaguar are powerful.
And still Coulthard doesn't have to come in the pit, so that's 65 laps, at least 66 he will be able to complete, and I think now he will have the gap to Jenson Button that he needs to make that pit stop and retain his 6th place. It'll be reasonably close. Depends how much time he makes on this, and I don't know, who knows when his in-lap is. But Verstappen not threatening Button behind, and as I said, Coulthard can't catch Alesi in front. But really, the crew are pretty well spread out. The teams and drivers well spread out. The only marginal scrap is Villeneuve, just 6.6 seconds behind Irvine in third place.
But only lapping 0.2 of a second faster. Indeed, Eddie Irvine has just responded to the challenge by going 0.2 of a second faster again than Jacques Villeneuve. And he's made his fastest lap of the race to reduce the gap between himself and Rubens Barrichello to well under 40 seconds, and 38 seconds to be exact. Look at David Coulthard, revelling now, liberated psychologically as he flings the McLaren round the circuit. Flings it, but being very careful indeed not to fling it into anything. He's just done a 1:20.6 compared with Michael Schumacher 1:22.3.
And he'll be in this lap. We saw the mechanics in the pit. Well, yes, in the pit lane. So James, take it over.
Well, at this late stage of the race, Martin, you need 22 seconds. It's how much you lose to get back out on the pit lane, and he was 23 seconds ahead of Jenson Button. If any crew could pull this off, it's the McLaren crew. A great stop, and is this going to get him a point?
And the amazing thing is, and there you see Button, David Coulthard is undoubtedly safe. Jenson Button is not going to be able to get through in the time that it takes Jenson Button to get round, and he's done so. So the thing that Martin was drawing our attention to has been safe. There is Button closing down on David Coulthard as the McLaren accelerates back again to race pace, but the problem which potentially faced David Coulthard has been avoided. It looks like he's going to get that one World Championship point, which seemed virtually impossible and so far off, and which he so richly deserves. This is lap 67 out of 78. Schumacher leads Barrichello by 8.8 seconds. The gap is coming down. Eddie Irvine is still third and no longer catching Barrichello, who's putting on a bit of a charge. Jacques Villeneuve, however, is still continuing to catch Eddie Irvine, who is third. Alesi is still fifth. Potential points for Prost. David Coulthard, will he get that 1 point?
So the scrap to watch, because I don't think Jensen's got the speed to come back at the McLaren now. So the only real sort of drama to watch, I think, unless these guys start whacking the barrier, that then is Raikkonen getting a bit out of shape in the last corner, but the traction control would scoop that up just as he most needed it, and he heads off into the pit straight one more time. But can Villeneuve catch Irvine for that final podium place? We'll be back shortly to find out.
To the closing laps of the 2001 Monaco Grand Prix, as you look at Eddie Irvine's Jaguar, which is still in that superb, well-deserved third position, a potential podium place for the Irishman. David Coulthard is shattering the lap record as in sixth position he circulates this track faster and faster. He's just gone round in 1 minute 19.4, which is 2.1 seconds faster than the previous lap record held by Mika Hakkinen, and it was put up in last year. So that's how much quicker they are going this year. Rubens Barrichello is 8 seconds behind Michael Schumacher, who seems to me to be pacing himself calmly and in his experienced way to yet another victory. If it is, it will be his 48th Grand Prix in his 150th year, 150th Grand Prix. Eddie Irvine is 36 seconds behind Barrichello, lapping faster but not fast enough to catch him. Jacques Villeneuve is closing on the Jaguar.
Fifth place man Alesi in the pits then for another stop, surprising so late in the race, but Alesi then, your current 5th place man, having to make a late stop.
Now, David Coulthard was 27 seconds behind Alesi. If he can get through before the Prost leaves the pits, it doesn't look to me as though he's going to. It means he could get 2 points instead of 1. Out goes Alesi, and Coulthard has passed me. He's ahead. He's ahead. David Coulthard is now on 2 points instead of 1. You may think that that's not all that exciting, but it really is as far as David Coulthard is concerned. He started in pole position. It was to start in pole position. He couldn't get away. He started last, and he's fought his way up to 5th in the race. This is another barnstorming Scottish drive. Fabulous. But Jean Alesi is still potentially going to score Prost's first World Championship point this year.
That could be worth as much as $11 or $12 million to the team, Murray. Just gets them into the TV money for the following season. That will be a crucial point. And here's the moment when Coulthard takes 5th. Alesi coming out from that very late stop in the race. Coulthard then, will he slow down a bit now? He's got no chance of catching Villeneuve. Going to be best part of a minute behind. All of that time he lost, crucially, behind Bernoldi at the beginning of the race. Bernoldi just driving defensively, slowing them all down, and Bernoldi back down in 9th place now, lapping some 4 seconds a lap slower than Coulthard. What a shame Coulthard didn't manage to get past him. I guess my technique of having him off the road may have lost me a wheel or a nose, and at least David, with his patience, is now staring at 2 maybe very crucial World Championship points.
How are the runners and riders doing on lap 72 out of 78? Ferrari are doing famously, thank you very much, say the men from Maranello, because they are 1st and 2nd with 6 laps to go at the end of this one. Schumacher leading Barrichello by 8 points. Jaguar, they must be having their fingers and everything else crossed, because Eddie Irvine is still in a potential 3rd podium place. His teammate Pedro de la Rosa has long since retired. Jacques Villeneuve is looking good for 3 World Championship points for the BAR team, and Villeneuve has already scored points this season, but his teammate Panis retired a long time ago. David Coulthard, of course, 2 points in the offing. Mika Hakkinen long since disappeared, and Jean Alesi looks as though he's going to get that 1 point for Prost, which Martin has told you is so vital to the team.
Jenson Button in 7th place, but going quite slowly now, so maybe Button's got a problem creeping in these late stages. Alesi hanging on to that 6th place then, Button not in any kind of position to challenge him, it seems.
And the remaining 3 are Jos Verstappen, so both the arrows are still running in the top 9, because Bernoldi, Verstappen's teammate, is in 9th place. Kimi Räikkönen 5 laps down is the last runner in 10th place, only 4 on the same lap.
Irvine's got a problem in the shape of Villeneuve, now just 3.7 seconds behind. We're just missing Villeneuve out of the picture each time as they cut away from Eddie Irvine, and the gap down to just 3 seconds. Now you'll see him. And so launching an attack then, but as you've said many times before, Murray, catching's one thing, passing is altogether another. But let's recap on quite a dramatic early stage of the race. David Coulthard stalling on the dummy grid for whatever reason, we don't know, starting at the back. Michael Schumacher making a textbook start. No dramas at all in the first few corners. Heidfeld tripping over an arrows and hitting the wall halfway round that first lap, and the race very much settled into a pace. Montoya, the first to make a mistake, striking the barriers in the first part of the swimming pool, dropping out of what was then 5th place. Ralf Schumacher retiring later on with, we think, some kind of engine problem. Frentzen hitting the walls, hydraulics failure for Ralf, we're hearing. Frentzen hit the wall, Fisichella hit the wall, Jarno Trulli caught fire, and Mika Hakkinen with a car that was trying to turn right every time he hit the throttle pedal, just as he started to make a big charge on Michael Schumacher, who Hakkinen was currently lying 2nd at that time, and just as we were shaping up for a very exciting challenge, unfortunately Mika Hakkinen's car failed him.
Well, keep your fingers crossed, everybody, especially Wolfgang Reitzler, who's probably watching this race, the boss of Jaguar. He's done so much to get the team up into Formula One, and he's seeing the potential now of his man, Eddie Irvine, getting the first podium for Jaguar ever. But not if Jacques Villeneuve can do anything about it, although Eddie Irvine has just responded with a lap 0.4 of a second faster than Jacques Villeneuve, which argues that he could be knowing exactly what the situation is. Michael Schumacher is going through to complete his lap now. That will take him into lap 74. 5 laps to go now for Michael Schumacher, with Rubens Barrichello 6.5 seconds behind him.
Yeah, we've hardly seen Michael all afternoon. We've barely said anything about him. Went off into the lead from what was then effectively pole position, and he's just been cruising around when he had to, put a couple of hot laps in, and that's about it. Hasn't made a mistake, hasn't really had to push hard. Really been a cruisy afternoon for Michael, and we're about to see, I suspect, a Ferrari formation finish.
Yeah, and it's the mark of a truly great driver if you can win at Monaco, as Senna did 6 times, as Graham Hill did 5 times, as Schumacher has already done 4 times. He was leading very convincingly last year when that cracked exhaust burnt through the carbon fibre suspension systems. And here is the battle for 3rd, Irvine, and 4th, the white BAR Honda of Jacques Villeneuve, and the gap is 3 seconds now. So Villeneuve is continuing to cut into that lead of Eddie Irvine's as the Irishman turns into the Mirabeau corner, goes down to the slowest corner on the course, the Grand Hotel corner, down to the Portier, and then through the tunnel again. Now, these two have not been lapped, so they will have to go the full race distance of 78 laps. Michael Schumacher will soon be starting. Indeed, he's on his 76th lap now. So laps 76, 77 and 78. There's going to be no doubt about the winner and second place, provided Schumacher and Barrichello stay where they are. But there could be a real doubt about who is going to be 3rd, the Jaguar of Eddie Irvine or the BAR Honda of Jacques Villeneuve, the 1997 world champion.
And Villeneuve's on a stonking lap. He's 0.7 of a second faster on this current lap than Eddie Irvine. You're watching 5th place man David Coulthard, who is a lap down, and 3 laps remain, as you can see. So Irvine over the line, and the gap will be down to 2.3 seconds now then. So just 2.3 seconds between Irvine 3rd, Villeneuve 4th.
Yeah, but if Eddie can just keep it up, he looks to me as though he's going to be all right. Villeneuve may close right up on him. But that Jaguar is then going to be 18 metres. Is the course width, is it? Well, if it is, that's how wide the Jaguar is going to be, because Eddie Irvine will just be able to plant it on the fastest racing line, keep it there, and say, OK, Jacques, the only way you're going to get past me is to push me off. And the French-Canadian is unlikely deliberately to do that. As Jenson Button drops down the hill past the Hotel Metropole in 7th position. He has been lapped. He is 27 seconds behind Jean Alesi. The positions look set, but in 1970, was it, Jacques Brabham in his Brabham came down to the last corner. It was the Gasworks corner, the Anthony Nogue corner then now, and he went off. He allowed himself to be distracted by Piers Courage. He went off, and Jochen Rindt came through and won the race brilliantly. So it's not over until it's over. But Michael Schumacher knows that as well as anybody as he goes into the tunnel for the 77th time. That is Prince Albert of Monaco. Here again, as he has been all through his life, to watch the Monaco Grand Prix, for which his father, His Serene Highness Prince Rainier, has done so much.
I think Eddie Irvine's done enough. He just put his fastest lap of the race in on a 20.6, 1 minute 20.6, and maintained the gap last time around. So Irvine has done enough, I think, to get that very, very well-deserved podium, and I, for one, would be seriously happy for the Jaguar team.
As we all will, and as Michael Schumacher exits the Rascasse into the Anthony Nogue corner to start his 78th and last lap, and David Coulthard just clips the edge of the road at the chicane, but he's perfectly all right there. Michael Schumacher, 1 lap to go.
Yeah, I tell you, just clip the edge of those curves. Remember, the car runs about ½ an inch high off the ground only, and you're sitting on the floor of it. I can tell you, it brings tears to your eyes, one of those things, and it trashes the underfloor. That's probably 20 grand's worth of carbon fibre just gone underneath that. It looked a pretty simple incident. Outbraked himself at the chicane. He's been pushing very, very hard, but of course he doesn't want to go across there if he can help it. You can sometimes be penalised.
Michael Schumacher's 5th Monaco win and his 48th career win coming up. Another glorious 1-2 for the Maranello concern of Ferrari. And that will mean 16 Constructors' Championship points, 10 Drivers' Championship points for Michael Schumacher, who is allowing Rubens Barrichello, as Schumacher looks in the mirrors, to close right up on his rear wing. It's going to be a formation finish, as you predicted, Martin, into the swimming pool and out of it for the last time. Schumacher has only now got to go round the Rascasse, which he is at. First gear, 20 miles an hour. Coasted home, Michael. And around the Antonino corner, up comes Rubens Barrichello. Schumacher wins in Monaco. Barrichello is second, right behind his team leader. 16 points for Ferrari, 10 for Michael Schumacher, 6 for Barrichello. What about third place?
Yeah, and that was the photo for all the albums at the end of the year. The show finished there from Ferrari, 1-2 over the line, and Irvine then clearly is comfortably going to take that final podium position. And James Allen was pointing out, as the Stewart team, they've had their first podium here. Now Jaguar, that team morphed into Jaguar, and their first podium then over the line in Monte Carlo. Villeneuve 4th.
Well done, Eddie Irvine. That is a brilliant drive. He's had a lot of criticism this year, and he has phlegmatically struck to his last, and he's paid off. But you can see now Jenson Button pursued by the Sauber, but they're on different laps, of course. And the Monaco Grand Prix victory in the year 2001 goes to Ferrari and Schumacher, with Barrichello and Ferrari in second place. A lot of very happy people there, including Jean Todt, the team manager, but not nearly as happy, I'm sure, as Jaguar. First World Championship points this year, first podium ever. Eddie Irvine, great drive. And 3 points to BAR and Jacques Villeneuve. David Coulthard, after a stonking drive from last to 5th position, gets 2 points. And Prost do indeed, with John Alesi finishing in 6th place, get that 1 World Championship point, which is going to get their tails very high indeed.
So Michael increases his lead in the World Championship. Crucial 2 points then for David Coulthard. Strong drive from Barrichello, the man you're looking at now, but not strong enough to match this man, the 5 times winner of this Grand Prix. Coulthard then maintaining his record of scoring points in every Grand Prix this year.
Indeed, he has, yes. Second place in Brazil, third place in Malaysia, a brilliant win in Australia, second place, brilliant win in Brazil, and then that second place again at Imola, 5th in Spain, a win in Austria, and now another 5th place. And that means to say that Michael Schumacher has extended his World Championship lead over David Coulthard from 4 points to 12. Rubens Barrichello, of course, is still in 3rd position as a result of that second place that he has had in the race. In 4th place is still Ralf Schumacher and Heidfeld, and is in 5th place. But Jacques Villeneuve has now moved ahead of the German Heidfeld and his Sauber team to 6th in the Drivers' Championship. So BAR and Jaguar and Prost have got a return and a reward at Monaco after all their efforts. And Ferrari have shown that if you stick at it the way they have, by appointing new people and continuing to improve the product, you can become a Grand Prix and a championship winner.
But I can't help think that we were robbed of a great sporting event this afternoon, with Häkkönen's technical problems, whatever Coulthard's problems were on the start line, because the pace of the McLarens when they were running was just sensational. So it would have been a true head-to-head this afternoon, and one I'm afraid we've been robbed of.
Yeah, let us remind ourselves that David Coulthard not only has those 2 World Championship points for 5th place, but a terrific fastest lap, record lap at Monaco, 1:19.4, and he did it on his 68th lap, 10 laps from the end, when he'd got past Bernaldi and everybody else. Now, there were some hard feelings between Barrichello and Michael Schumacher, not between Michael Schumacher and Barrichello in the past, and Michael congratulates his old Ferrari teammate Eddie Irvine on having achieved a podium position for his new team. New last year, Jaguar, and he's still there this year. Eddie will, I'm quite sure, when he's talking in the interview room, be very calm and dispassionate about it all. He will say that this is what we were trying to do and we must continue to keep trying. Very, very happy Ferrari team. Very, very happy Michael Schumacher. He stopped by the royal box, and that is Prince Rainier with the grey hair and the glasses. Whether it's going to be him or his son Prince Albert that presents the prize, I do not know. But now, to confirm the caption that you're seeing, Ferrari are 32, a massive 32 points ahead of McLaren, as Michael Schumacher, cap on. First, it has on the side of the cap Rubens Barrichello, cap off, bows to His Serene Highness. Prince Albert gives him his trophy, and there's some very happy people, but as I said before, none so happy as Jaguar or Eddie Irvine. It's been a great drive. Williams still third in the Constructors' Championship, Jordan in fourth position, but BAR have now moved ahead of Sauber, so Craig Pollock's team is getting there. So the strains of the Italian national anthem to honour Ferrari die away with their two men up there on the top step.
Does Michael Schumacher do that? Look, his hair is not even the slightest bit wet. He's not been sweating at all. I know he's been cruising at the front this afternoon, but it's amazing.
He's nauseatingly fit. But then so is David Coulthard. They've got to be the two fittest men in Grand Prix racing. So, well, as you pointed out, Martin, it could have been a more dramatic race if David Coulthard had got away well, but it just wasn't to be. But now David has extended his already dramatic lead over his teammate Mika Häkkinen, double world champion, by a further 2 points. And the championship is not yet won by Michael Schumacher. 10 races to go. It's all to play for.
Thank you, Murray. Thank you, Martin. New contract for Michael Schumacher this week. £25 million a year. Basic. Cheap at half the price after what he's done here today. Don't go away. We'll be hearing from the top three. We hope David Coulthard will have a word with us as well. We'll be enjoying ourselves at the Grand Prix ball, and there is expert analysis from Tony Jardine and Mark Blundell. Meantime, ITV Sport is very much in the fast lane.
alors qu'on essaye de les récupérer pour les amener du côté de la conférence de presse, mais pour le moment, ils sont tellement accaparés par leur mécano pour leur présence ici sur la première et deuxième marche. Du Monaco Kart Cup et également donc un challenge star à Monaco pour
Good. That was a good race. Very well done.
It looked to me like a crack sugar break, but without the car.
Yeah, we'll be having that.
Over it, boys.
When we go to it, no, it doesn't. It takes about 40 per second for the test.
Das war dieses Wochenende. Im nächsten Jahr findet der nächste Grand Prix statt vom 23. bis zum 26. Mai. Auch da hoffe ich, Sie wieder hier an der Piste zu sehen. 4 Tage Rennsport, alles Beste und eine schöne Nacht. Kommen Sie gut nach Hause, genießen Sie noch die verbleibende Zeit in Monaco. Herzlichen Dank, dass Sie uns zugehört haben.
Grazie.
It's Michael Schumacher, Rubens Barrichello and Eddie Irvine. Michael, many, many congratulations. Your 5th win here at the Great Circuit, and in some ways perhaps your easiest once the McLaren failed to start again. What do you think of that?
I don't know. Obviously, they did have some kind of problem with one car at least. The other car started normal. I have no idea. Speak to them, and I don't want to really say anything to that. I think I should talk about my issue.
It seems that only the truly great win at Monaco many times. You've won 5 times. Other multiple winners in Ayrton Senna and Alan Prost and Graham Hill. What's so special? What do you need to do around here to win?
Finish the race, first of all. It's quite important because here it's very easy to do mistakes. It's a very hard circuit. Although it was an easy drive, it is still hard to some degree because we do still reasonable fast lap times. I don't know what is so special. I certainly love that circuit. I have always found it easier to find my setup, which is very important again here, to throw around the car through the corners. But you have to be lucky to some degree as well.
Was the race easier this year with the traction control automatic gearboxes, or was it still as challenging as ever?
Pretty challenging. No, because you have the traction control, it means you go faster actually, and that means it's physically to some degree harder.
Michael, thank you. Rubens, you celebrated extending your Ferrari contact with a superb second place, but it looked very straightforward from outside. Was it for you?
Not at all. I mean, I had quite a lot of trouble since lap 9-10, because I started having cramp on my foot. Something happened to the pedals because they were vibrating quite a lot. And actually Ross became a physiotherapist because I was telling him, you know, if he knew something that I could do inside of the car, because it was really, really bad. It was a time I could hardly feel my right foot, and you know, he was saying drink water, and at one stage it was gone. So I was having quite a lot of problem inside of the car actually.
Rubens, thank you. Eddie, many congratulations to you. It's your first podium since leaving Ferrari. It's Jaguar's first podium ever. You must be delighted for yourself and the team.
Yeah, it's fantastic to get a podium, and especially here, you know. To have 2 Ferraris and a Jaguar on the podium in Monaco's really what Formula One's about in a way. We've got to see if we can consistently get up here, though. That's, you know, Monaco's a strange circuit, and we've been quick here all weekend. Let's hope we can carry that speed into Canada.
Not a totally uneventful race. I believe you hit the barrier. Were there no ill effects from that?
I touched the barrier at the swimming pool, but it was on the inside wheel, and I was pretty much sliding when I hit it, so it just made me slide a little bit more, but no ill effects at all.
Thank you, Eddie. Michael, we go to the completely different circuit now at Canada, which is all about high speed. You've got a 12-point lead in the championship. What's the programme between then and now for Ferrari?
We will be testing next week Monaco for 3 days. In order, I think it's the last test we can do before the Monaco race, if I'm right. It's not a particular test for Canada, obviously, but we know very well what we have to do for Canada. We prepared for that, and let's hope we can show again a 1-2.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Well done. And now a word from Michael and Rubens in your own languages, starting with Michael.
Ja, Michael Schumacher zijn 5e zege hier in Monaco. Of hij iets met deze baan heeft. Nou, hij houdt in ieder geval wel van de race in Monaco. En vindt er altijd snel de juiste afstelling. En dat is ook wel nodig hier. Maar om hier succes te hebben moet je in ieder geval 1 ding doen. En dat is namelijk de finish halen. Nou, dat deed Schumacher. En ja, zonder de McLaren's was het natuurlijk wel een stuk makkelijker. Maar toch geen makkelijke race. Want ja, je hebt traction control. Daardoor ga je harder. En moet je dus als coureur beter concentreren. En nog beter oppassen dat je niet in de fout gaat. Ik wil weer even kijken naar de Jean Alesi. Toch goed voor de 1 WK-punt. Het eerste van Prost dit seizoen. Tevreden Michael Schumacher. Tevreden Rubens Barrichello ook. Alhoewel hij een ongebruikelijk probleem had. Kramp in zijn rechtervoet. En hij vroeg aan de fysiotherapeut, wat kan ik daaraan doen tijdens de race, Tom? Toen zei de fysiotherapeut, veel drinken.
Veel water drinken, ja, dat kan natuurlijk iets hebben. Ik heb het ook wel eens een keer gehad. Toen bleek het niet aan drank of aan vocht te maken te hebben. Maar had ik het probleem dat in het stoeltje een bepaald drukpunt heb. En natuurlijk omdat het zo hobbelig is op dit circuit, ja, kan dat een spier of een nerve kan dat ja, een beetje drukken. Ja, dan heb je dus een probleem.
Kijk even naar het zure gezicht van Jos Verstappen, dat bijna op onweer staat. Want ja, laten we wel zijn, er had ook een WK-punt voor hem in kunnen zitten als het niet mis was gegaan daar bij die pitstop. Ook een blije Eddie Irvine. Achter de tafel bij de persconferentie de eerste podiumklassering voor Jaguar. En ook zijn eerste sinds een vertrek naar het team van Jaguar. En het verlaten van Ferrari. Tevreden Eddie Irvine die nog eens zei, ach ja, 2 Ferraris en een Jaguar. Nou, mooier kun je het toch niet hebben hier in Monaco. Terwijl de cameraman er maar geen genoeg van krijgt, van die beauty shots. En Schumacher op naar Canada. En dat doen ze met 3 dagen testen op Magny-Cours. Niet speciaal gericht op de Grote Prijs van Canada. Maar dat is de laatste keer dat ze op Magny-Cours kunnen testen voor de Grote Prijs van Frankrijk. Dat was even kortweg de samenvatting van de persconferentie. En de zoenen zijn voor Jean Alesi, die ook Tom een goede race heeft gereden.
Ja, absoluut. Het is natuurlijk voor de pros een soortement van overwinning om zesde te worden. Het is voor de jongens zoveel keer moeilijker om te scoren. Dat ik zoiets heb van ja jongens, dit is grandioos. Het team heeft natuurlijk financiële problemen. Een beetje problemen met de rijders gehad. Een wissel, geld, maar ze wilden de rijder niet.
Ja. Nee, duidelijk. Nou, nog even terugblikken. Eerst die start waar dus Coulthard ontbrak. Want kijk, hier gaat het mis bij het begin van de opwarmronde. Nou, zure gezicht dan al meteen bij McLaren. Dan gaan we dus zonder Coulthard van start. Het gaat wel allemaal goed. Schumacher pakt de leiding voor Hakkinen. Barrichello en dan binnendoor zometeen Ralf Schumacher bij Eddie Irvine. En ook Montoya profiteert. Maar Newey zit het dan al niet meer zitten. En dan hebben we hier de eerste uitvaller. Dat is de heer Nick Heidfeld van Sauber. Raakt daar de muur. Er zou niet de laatste zijn. Daar gaat Montoya. Hetzelfde geval. Wagen breekt een beetje uit over de curbstones. En boem, de muur in. Weg Montoya. En Schumacher gaat vrolijk door. Terwijl achterin David Coulthard aan een opmars begint. Maar lange tijd achter Bernoldi zit. En dan zien we hier het moment dat Hakkinen van het gas af moet. Noodgedwongen. En Barrichello voorbij laat zich in de pit smelt. Het dan nog wel een keertje probeert. Maar later voor de tweede maal binnenkomt en het dan wel gelooft. En dus weer geen punten voor Mika Hakkinen. Hier hebben we dan Bernoldi met David Coulthard. En Coulthard komt er maar niet langs. Bernoldi krijgt 350.000 keer de blauwe vlag in die race, maar gaat niet aan de kant. Schumacher aan de leiding. Geen vuiltje aan de lucht. Hier is een jongere broer Ralf. Op dat moment op de 3e plaats. Dus op weg naar een podiumklassering. En die Irvine op de 4e plaats daarachter. Oeps, even een klein foutje. Maar komt ermee weg. En hij gaat vrolijk door, Michael Schumacher. Met een klare sniertje daar aan de zijkant van de wagen. Maar dat heeft verder geen invloed op zijn prestaties. De chronometers van Jean Todt. En dan zien we dat hier Jarno Trulli vlam vat aan de achterkant. Een vuurzee en Trulli ligt eruit. En brengt zichzelf in veiligheid. Een van de vele uitvallers. Een van de 12 uitvallers hier in Monaco. Een sip kijkende Eddie Jordan. En dat zou niet de laatste keer zijn. Daar de eerste fout van Fisichella. Bang met zijn linker achterwiel bij Saint-Devote in de muur. Maar dan kan hij nog door. En houdt hij nog even de 6e plaats vast. Hier hebben we Frenze jagend op Jean Alesi. En dan gaat het opnieuw mis voor Fisichella. En nu ligt hij er wel uit. En dan schuift Alesi een plaatsje op en Frenze dus ook. Maar kijk, Frenze mist het rempunt in de muur. Vliegt naar buiten toe. De hele zijkant van de wagen beschadigd. En ook hij ligt eruit. Dan de volgende uitvaller, dat is Fernando Alonso. Hij heeft ook vlam gevat. Hier het moment waarop Ralf Schumacher Eddie Irvine voorbij laat. Opgejaagd door David Coulthard. En dan grijpt hij, nou niet naar zijn hoofd, want het lukt wat moeilijk met een helm op. Maar baalt hij wel. Ralf Schumacher, ook hij valt uit. En dan Eddie Irvine op de 3e plaats. En dan schikt hij hier eventjes. Nou, Irvine niet, maar de rest van Jaguar wel. Nog een keer een pitstop van Alesi. Coulthard kan er dan voorbij. En dan ligt Jean Alesi op de 6e plaats. Maar dat is ook goed voor een WK-punt. Irvine krijgt dan nog even bezoek van Jacques Villeneuve. Die nog oprukt. Maar de Ferraris worden 1 en 2. En Villeneuve redt het. Ik bedoel zeggen, Irvine redt het voor Villeneuve. Rahal tevreden. Want het is de eerste podiumklassering voor Jaguar. Goed gedaan jongens. Handje omhoog bij Eddie Irvine. En Ferrari deelt hier een harde klap uit aan het team van McLaren. Door de dubbel te pakken. Schumacher vergroot zijn voorsprong op Coulthard naar 12 punten. En nog even een donut als toegift van Jean Alesi. Mooi moment. De man die dus het eerste puntje van Prost pakt dit seizoen. Onder leiding van Prins Reinier de 3e, de prijsuitreiking. En dan de hele dure champagne voor Schumacher en Rubens Barrichello. En die smaakt goed zo te zien. Op de schouders Michael Schumacher. Zijn 48e overwinning, zijn 4e dit seizoen. Een hele belangrijke in de strijd om de wereldtitel. Kijk maar, hier nog even de stand. 52, nu voor Schumacher, Coulthard 40. Barrichello loopt uit op Ralf Schumacher. Heidfeld scoorde niks. Villeneuve nu samen met Trulli op de 6e plaats. Allebei 7 punten. Montoya scoorde ook geen punten. Frenze ook niet. Panis niet. Irvine wel. Die staat nu op de 11e plaats. En Hakkinen nog steeds maar 4 puntjes. En dan Jos Verstappen. Hij was er wel in de buurt. Maar ja, die mislukte pitstop waarbij zijn motor afsloeg. Geen punten voor Jos Verstappen. Hij wordt 8e in Monaco. Goed, wij nemen afscheid van u. Terwijl u rustig kunt gaan kijken naar de stand in het constructeurskampioenschap. We hebben gekeken naar een leuke race. Over 2 weken dan gaan we naar Montreal in Canada voor... Dus even kijken op mijn blaadje, als ik dat zo gauw kan vinden. Volgens mij alweer even spieken de 8e race van dit seizoen. Het gaat hard als het gezellig is. En dan zult u het zonder mij moeten doen. Want dan vertoef ik in Amerika bij de finales van het Amerikaanse basketbalkampioenschap. Maar reken maar dat we een waardig vervanger zullen vinden. En Tom is er dan ook weer bij. Tot volgende keer. Dag.
I think that was a good experience for me, and I getting more experience, and I think that was a good race.
Now you held David Coulthard up for most of that race. Can you tell us about that? Did it give you any added pressure?
Yeah, for sure. He was much quicker than what I was, but we were on the same. We was like 4 positions, so I think that my team didn't give me any order to let him pass, and I was just concentrated on my race.
Enrico, well done, thank you.
Fastest, so I think we would have been comfortably up front today.
What about David? When you came up to lap it, he was trying very, very hard to get past Ben Elsie and almost pull over and stop to let you pass. Do you have any problems with back markers?
No, I mean, as you say, I guess David saw me in the mirrors and he was obviously trying to get my penalty not to be left because it would have been important for him later in the race. And he almost crashed with him in the mirror for what I could see at least. And then I was behind him and he didn't go over. He was very fair on that. Otherwise there was no problem with back markers.
Thank you, Michael. Well done. Rubens, early on you got past Hackman and Nico, but I don't know what the problem was with him. Did you see what happened?
Not really. I was quite broken in back a little bit, you know, all of a sudden I saw a car almost stopping with no smoke or anything like that. I think to be a race around that 10 actually manifests itself a bit later to more like 17, 18, 19. It was about 2 seconds of lap. During the time the race that I going out
let's go. Let's get out of here. Played the catch.
Give me a chance to
What happened in the stop when you nearly went?
First of all, you lost out a bit at the start, I think.
Yeah, I made a reasonable start. It wasn't quite as good as the Williams one. Williams sort of pulled on me a bit, but I got round the outside of Ralph at the first corner, and then he pushed me in wide. I had to just back off and get him in the line, you know, so then Montoya got me. But then it was just a matter of I just dropped back maybe 2 seconds and just sat there waiting to see what would happen.
But this podium really seems to mean a lot.
It's good for all the guys in the team. Everyone's been working very hard. You know, we haven't been getting very far, to be honest, until these new aerodynamics arrived on Saturday. So it's good for the guys in the factory now.
So how much is the aero package, or so how much is this result you, and how much is it the aero package? since it's not contract negotiation time, it's probably mostly to do with the aero package. No, it's a huge step. Like I was 4 years ago, and I probably never seen a game in half what we gained for this weekend. You know, so it's a huge step. Whether it translates into a better result, for sure, it'll be better in Canada. But you know, here it's all about downforce. Canada is a lot of efficiency is very important, and our efficiency is.
This is a big step forward, but it's still a really one step behind other people. So if we go to Canada and we perform well there, then it goes well for the rest of the world, which the service is very different.
Bloody good event. Well done.
Yeah. When you hit Gary, are you surprised that it didn't do it, Gary? No, we didn't do it. One there I sort of imagined going in where
inside, where I definitely did trip it, but it was very, very small. It was on the unloaded wheel, and I just sort of glanced along it, so I would have been surprised if something like that happened, to be honest, because I never even got a flick through the steering wheel. And was the car consistent during the race? The car handling was good. We got a problem with the car handling last year, and we had basically every race.
You're back with us at Monaco. Michael Schumacher led right from the start and has won the Monaco Grand Prix. Let me just confirm the result for you. Michael Schumacher 10 out of 10, Ferrari 1-2, brilliant from them. Eddie Irvine, he's so good round here, he's up on the podium again. Jacques Villeneuve, good for British American racing that, and David Coulthard battling through from the back to get 2 World Championship points. And Jean Alesi, 23 races he's had since his last points and making his point here. The Drivers' Championship is now 12 points, the gap between Michael Schumacher and David Coulthard. Barrichello closing up on 24 points. Ralf Schumacher, the only other fella into double figures. And the Constructors' Championships, well, of course, Ferrari really helped today. 76 points. McLaren on 44. Williams, who never go well round here, on 18. Miserable time for Jordan as well, but of course, Villeneuve doing okay for BAR. Only one person we want to hear from today, and that is David Coulthard. Here he is then, David, chatting to James Allen.
David, I was on your pit wall for most of the race, an extremely intense sense of frustration. I'm sure in the cockpit was similar.
Yeah, it was very frustrating behind Enrique. He was doing his job, but clearly he was so slow. It was just very difficult not to take a big risk. But unfortunately, every time I tried to do a dive, then he was closing the door quite late, I felt, which I guess he's entitled to do. But it just meant I had to sit there. It was inevitable that I would eventually get past, but it just was a long wait, and then I was able to push when I had clean air. And that obviously gained me the spaces to get in front of the other arrows and the Benetton.
Tell us about the dummy grid, what happened, what put you in this situation in the first place?
Technical problem of which the team will explain, but basically the engine was switched off.
Unbelievable. And Michael, of course, has got now 12 points up on you in the championship. It's not over yet, but a little bit more difficult, I guess, after this weekend.
Yeah, of course it gets more difficult when they open points, but I can only do my best, and I believe I've done that this weekend, and the rest is down to the racing god. So at the moment he gets the luck, and maybe in Montreal it'll be me.
Tough for David. Sparkle in his eyes before the start of this race, looking very tired indeed now. And just Tony, looking at the start, very basically that should not happen. Those cars should not stall.
There is an anti-stall mechanism on there, but we have to go back and see what happened in Spain. There's an incredible frustration. Imagine what he's shouting down the line now to the engineers. It stopped, bleep, 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 and so it's going on. But you don't know at this point on the formation lap. What he likes to do is go off manual start and then set to the launch control when he comes for the start proper. Between those two procedures is when the engine, if it's idling too slowly or lowly or whatever, it shouldn't stall, but clearly something has happened. Sure. He said the bugs are out of the system, but they're not.
Mark Blundell will get your views on that in just a moment. Delighted that Jaguar boss Bobby Rahal is down there waiting to chat to us. Bobby, congratulations, it's been a while coming, this one.
Thank you. Well, it's been a long time, I guess. It's the first podium for Jaguar Racing, so I'm very proud of all the people in the team, and back home in Milton Keynes, and of course all the guys here on the team did a super job. So very, very pleased, and we hope this is the start of more good things.
Exactly how much does it mean for you to put Eddie Irvine on the podium here in Monaco?
Well, I was very pleased with the pace of the car. Ran right with the Williams. You know, the Michelin tires that were quite good for us, I think. It was very consistent. You know, Eddie knows how to get around this place, that's for sure. But the big thing, I think, is the performance of the car was strong all weekend. And, boy, it really, you couldn't have asked for more.
You need a bit more pace in that car, don't you? Because Monaco does camouflage one or two deficiencies, doesn't it?
Well, we'll see in Canada, won't we? But certainly I anticipate there'll continue to be quite a few changes to the car in the ensuing weeks and months, and this is just going to whet our appetite for more.
You're going to wet your throats tonight, or take it all seriously?
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be some becks being had freely here in the motorhome.
Well done, Bobby. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Okay, Mark, a brief word from you about David Coulthard, first of all. As a driver, when you're in that situation, how do you feel?
I tell you, huge frustration, and just to sit behind Benaldi for that long, a lot of patience from DC. I tell you for sure, I would have tried to punt the guy off way long before that.
Okay, we'll look at that in a moment. You've been waving the Juan Pablo Montoya flag all season. First time in a Formula One car around here, and a learning curve, eh?
Well, yeah, learning curve. I mean, he obviously just a little bit too quick too soon during the race, lost it on the secondary part of the curb and hit the left rear. Just, you know, a mess at the end of it. That's a rookie's mistake, shouldn't happen.
When we chatted to Bernie Eccleston before the start, he said he thought this could be Mika Häkkinen's day here. He looked to be going pretty well, and then, once again, a bit like David Coulthard, something happened to that McLaren, Tony.
Yeah, there's a bit of a mystery, but what we've got to remember is very, very high temperatures here today, and because of running traction control, this is where Rubens goes into second place. This is the first of 3 pit stops that Mika Häkkinen had to make. You know, down that transmission tunnel, there's the heat, there's the vibration, there's all sorts of problems could have occurred, and because of traction control. And this circuit, you know, everything's pulling on the transmission, stickier tyres as well. You imagine what the components are being put through. They're actually being tortured. And I feel that something in the transmission trail has let go.
Right, now, one or two people out there might never have heard of Enrique Bernoldi, but one or two might have been cursing him during the race, the way he held up David Coulthard. First of all, before we see that, was he in his rights?
Of course he was in his rights. Just for position. I mean, he's in his rights because he's in front of DC. But at this point, Coulthard's trying to get by. Bernaldi keeps shutting the door on him. And, you know, everyone's going to know Bernaldi now. He got plenty of airtime, didn't he, with the orange arrows. But I think David did the right thing. He used his brain, and it paid off with 2 points at the end of the race.
I mean, I could hear his fans out there almost going, push him off, push him out of the way. I mean, easier said than done.
Easier said than done. You can't go and do that in an F1 car. It's so fragile. You're going to be in the wall, or you're going to lose a rear upright, something like that. But 2 points is better than none. But how frustrating for the guy. His World Championship, you can just see it going away from him.
And even worse after what happened to him at the start there, Tony. He then has to move over and say, après-vous, Michael Schumacher.
It's embarrassing. It's denting his pride at this point, and that's why I totally agree with Mark, what he's saying there. He gets right out of the way. There was been a GPDA meeting, a Grand Prix Drivers Association meeting before this race, and they've all decided they're going to behave and keep out of each other's way. David is a director of that. Jarno Trulli's been made a true director, a new director of it. But it's embarrassing for him. But his patience has overridden everything, because he thought, no, race of attrition, I'll have to stick it out. It was 5 or 6 times he nearly lost his nose cone, didn't he, going down into Mirabeau.
Was he a bit too polite at times, David Coulthard?
I think his timing was just a little bit out, and where he was trying to tag onto the back of the car what was lapping Bernaldi to try and make the objective of his whole move. And I think Martin picked up on it during the commentary, but you know, it took him a long time before he could actually pull that off.
Good to see Eddie Irvine coming round here and getting up on the podium again.
Yeah, I mean, great race for Eddie. He drove superb. Great result for Jaguar. Goes by Schumacher there, and I think Schumacher's got some issues there with the car. Not sure what really went on. It looks like he was either out of fuel or an engine problem, but I would say probably out with an engine problem. Once you put some fuel in this car, as you see on the screen, he doesn't pull away again, so terminal. But what a result for Eddie Irvine. He's back on top again.
He is indeed. Great to see Eddie Irvine back on the podium, and that, of course, means that Eddie Irvine is back in the press conference they hold here in Monte Carlo for the top 3. And let's have a word with them, shall we?
Michael, many, many congratulations. Your 5th win here.
No ill effects at all.
He'll have a good night tonight. Well, Eddie Irvine, he enjoyed himself last night as well at the Grand Prix ball. We will be joining him there when you rejoin us. You're back with us in Monaco now. The only place to be last night was the Grand Prix ball. Beverly Turner was on the guest list.
Hello and welcome to the Monte Carlo Sporting Club. This is just up the road from the harbour and it's the spectacular setting for tonight's charity Grand Prix ball. It's the eve of the race and tickets are like gold dust. But great news, we've got access all areas. So let's take a look. One of the many sporting heroes who's here tonight is Audley Harrison. How are you doing?
Hi, Viv. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Is this one of the perks of being an Olympic gold medalist, would you say?
Most definitely. Yeah, you know, definitely I'm off for a week, so it's come around. It's a great time for me. And coming in, it's unbelievable, really. You know, Monte Carlo, Formula One. It's just so many faces here. It's just the atmosphere is just really buzzing. It's really good.
What do you think of this whole Grand Prix sort of culture? Pretty impressive, isn't it?
It's just a different world, especially in Monte Carlo. It's just a different world. Everyone just enjoying themselves.
Have you been to many Grand Prix?
This is my 5th, so I've been to a few. But because a lot of them in the season, you don't get a chance to go.
Ross Kemp, last time we saw you, you were in the pits with the Jordan team, I believe. You've scrubbed up all right, though.
Yeah, my hands are still dirty, though. I'm still suffering. Still got the burn for picking up the tyre the wrong way.
How are you enjoying this F1 world? It's quite amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very dapper. Very exciting. But I mean, one thing that I've learned from the time that I've been working with the Jordan team, that it's not all glamorous. Hard work. The boys are dedicated to their job.
Inside the sumptuous ballroom, they prepare to feed the 900 guests. Meanwhile, the drivers entertain the crowds with a few party games.
There we go, we're off. Up and running. Now cheer for your team, please. Look, you've got to keep them close together. It's the Orange Arrows team.
This is what Formula One should be, really. You know, there's lots of good-looking girls around. It's a great place. It's warm. There's boats. There's sea.
Formula One should be about.
It should be. It should be. I think so. That's the reason 99% of us do it.
Well, Eddie and the drivers resisted the temptation of another party and headed home for an early night, while the rest of us tucked into a fantastic 6-course meal, complete with a spectacular finale. Well, the ceiling's opened on the dining room, the fireworks are going up, and I'm realising that there is so much more to this sport than just fast cars and photo shoots. And it's Monaco, so it's a little bit special, but if this is even a hint of what this world is all about, I reckon I could get used to this.
We'll probably have to get used to the sounds of Italians celebrating tonight as they go back over the border. Mark, just to sum it up for us, could you, the race?
The master, Schumacher, wins again. Eddie Irvine will be partying tonight for sure. But I think also the fact that DC, you know, patience paid off. And let's not forget Jean Alesi and Prost. For me, that was one of the drivers of the whole race.
Tony?
Double red for Ferrari, 99, and now again. But Eddie Irvine, last 5 years in the points, 4 of them on the podium. Software and David Coulthard. Where is Bill Gates when you need him?
A lot of time left there for David Coulthard, of course, to pull things round. Highlights coming up for you tonight. Now, have a little look at that. ITV2, first of all, at 10:30 tonight and just after midnight here on ITV. And the repeat, as always, ITV2 tomorrow night at 7. Next stop for us is Canada. Bit of a different time, qualifying 11:25 p.m. on the Saturday. The race live, great time, Saturday afternoon at 5:15, and highlights just after midnight. Well, there we are then. Dreadful luck for David Coulthard. Another Monte Carlo triumph for Mr. Monaco, Michael Schumacher. Quite simply, streets ahead again. Bye-bye from us all.
Hakkinen, very bad luck. What happened there?
Well, we don't have exactly 100% understanding yet what's going on, but I just lost the balance of the car completely, and the steering wheel wasn't straight, so I was a bit concerned.
Had you hit anything at any time? Had you hit the barriers at all? Bad luck.
It's very bad luck. What happened to you?
Coming to the back, I lost the gears and the throttle. I guess it's a hydraulic problem. I'm not sure, but I had to stop the car in the track. And that was the end of a shitty Grand Prix for me.
Thank you, Pedro.
Control back on, please.
Giancarlo Fisichella, very bad luck, up to 6, but you had a couple of problems.
Yeah, I lost the hydraulic pressure, and in downshift there was not downshift, so I lost the control of the car and spun off.
You had a huge hit against the barriers and got away with it. You hit the barriers very hard. Did that damage the car at all?
Just front suspension. I'm okay, so I'm just very sad.
Bad luck, thank you.
Marquez, a very disappointing end to a disappointing race. Can you tell me what happened?
First of all, I had a lot of electronic problems. It was changing gear wrong sometimes, and then I lost traction control completely. And at the end, I stopped because the drive shaft broke.
I'll say thank you.
Thank you, guys. Great, reliable and fast car, I would say. Yeah, as I said, well, we have some radio break. Anyway, now I'm going into the tunnel. We'll continue to speak, but probably I'm breaking up. Yeah, that's a superb voice. You guys have done a superb job. Well, we have to be there. We are there. Given me a fantastic car. It was obviously comfortable after the McLarens were gone, but still, I mean, you have to do it, and you have done a superb pit stop. Everything great, thanks for that.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your drive, Michael. Perfect.
Although a disappointing start, what a hell of a race.
Yeah, hard race, but that's Formula One. You've got to take the good with the bad.
What happened at the start? Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
An electronic problem. The team will explain.
Enrique Bernoldi, David Coulthard, you never saw his face so often or his car so often in the mirror, I think.
Well, he was pushing and he was much faster than me behind me, but we were racing, so I tried to do my best for me and I was pushing until the end. That's racing, I think.
So you must be very happy with your finish today.
I'm happy that I finished, you know. I think I touched somebody on the start and I think we had a little bit wrong on the setup, but I think it was quite good. It was quite positive to go into the end.
First podium for Jaguar and the first podium for you at Jaguar. What can we say?
It's good, it's great. Let's hope it continues. You know, we were a little bit fortunate today, but, you know, without problems for the big four, we can't get on the podium. So, you know, we got to be the best of the rest, and that's what we're trying to do.
Canada?
We just got to wait and see. It's a totally different circuit from here. But we've got a great engine. Aerodynamics are very, very important there, and we'll see how good ours are.
I was wondering that the race was going on for so long, because when you're only there, it never seems to end. You really would like to finish after 10 laps. But, well, anyway, it was hard work, because you really need to finish, you really need to concentrate, and in some ways it's harder than being in a fight, because then you don't think about anything, you just fight and you drive naturally. This is a bit of an unnatural driving.
Well done, Eddie. Has the big cat finally found its claws?
She's been saving that one up. I can see you thinking about 2 hours about that one last night. We see. It's too early to say, you know. We qualified well here. The car's been good all weekend. Canada's a very different circuit. If we go well in Canada, that will then tell us we're going to go well at all those circuits really from now on. But we got to keep working. You know, this floor has been really in development since the beginning of the season. That's far too long. You know, we need wind tunnels in England, and we need more manufacturing. We need more of everything just to be able to keep this development going. If you don't do that, you fall back again until you find the next big step.
Bobby, many congratulations. How does it feel?
Oh, fantastic. Very happy for the team back home and proud of these guys. And, you know, we're getting there. I hope this isn't the last we see of this, but Eddie drove a great race and the car performed flawlessly. Cosworth did a great job. We're just very happy for everybody.
It's not over yet, but a little bit more difficult, I guess, after this weekend.
Yeah, of course it gets more difficult when they open points, but I can only do my best, and I believe I've done that this weekend, and the rest is down to the racing god. So at the moment he gets the luck, and maybe in Montreal it'll be me.
Let's just confirm the result for you. 10 out of 10 for Michael Schumacher. Rubens Barrichello following his teammate home. Good to see Eddie Irvine on the podium again. Villeneuve with 3 more points for BAR. Just a couple for David Coulthard. And Alesi's first point for 24 races. Michael Schumacher's 5th Monaco win. Only Ayrton Senna with 6 has won more. The German now 12 points clear of Coulthard. Barrichello a clear 3rd. Ralf Schumacher, he just can't finish here. Villeneuve's best ever Monaco, generating 3 points. A 16-point maximum taking Ferrari well clear in the constructors. No change for Williams or for Jordan. Villeneuve takes BAR above Sauber because of that 3rd place in Spain. Okay, Tony, David Coulthard, dreadful at the start. What happened to him there?
Well, pole hero to 0, go to the back and start again. Incredible frustration for him. I suspect that he may have gone off a manual start for the formation lap. Then the transition, the software, when he needs to go onto launch control after that, it should have taken over. There's an anti-stall mechanism on there. Maybe there's a bug in the system still, although it was bug-free, said David Coulthard. Otherwise, it's finger trouble for the driver, as it was with Mika Häkkinen not so long ago in Austria. We'll have to wait and find out, Jim.
We'll have to wait and find out. The bottom line is, though, those cars just should not stall. They spent hours and hours, days and days testing to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, this again is the frustration thing, because they've done so many practice starts. Because of the danger here, after every practice session, they were doing launch control starts. They were launch control starts. This is going from the manual through to the launch control, switching from one to the other, whether it's procedural or whether it's in the software. Bring back Bill Gates, I say.
People would say it was a very straightforward Monaco Grand Prix, and one or two spectacular incidents, though.
Oh, I'm not at all. I mean, the aggressive driving of Juan Pablo Montoya comes out fighting, doesn't he? And despite all their massive amount of wins, 69 wins for Honda, all the development still has to go on. And unfortunately, up goes the engine, but they got 3 good points with Jacques Villeneuve. Giancarlo Fisichella slapping the wall there. And later on, at the very same place, Sandoval, he was to go out. And he's normally a podium man here, a good street fight driver.
In Britain, thousands and thousands of people would be cursing the Brazilian Bernaldi, but he was quite within his rights what he did to David Coulthard.
He was, but it's more a case of Coulthard sitting it out and being patient. Imagine what he was feeling. I should be potentially winning this race. I should be potentially looking at 10 points. And he could have boiled over easily. He could have really, really seen red and had a go. If that was Montoya, he would have tried to shunt Bernaldi off at the start, probably. That's the difference in between. That's the difference in the attitude this year to David Coulthard. Taking stock, taking control, you know, and he gets points at the end of it.
Eddie Irvine always goes well around Monaco, and great to see Fast Eddie up on the podium again.
It was great because at the Monaco Ball last night, I was hosting thing, and he smashed all these glasses off the track. I said, don't do that tomorrow. He said, no way, no way. You know, he was really up for it. The glint was in the eye last night as he says, I love this place. And as Ralf Schumacher pulled in with problems, there Eddie Irvine heads towards the first ever podium for Jaguar. And it's a shame for Ralf because he's had a poor record here. He gashed his leg last year. But for Irvine and Jaguar, I think it's sensational.
David Coulthard remains very much in the hunt. We thought for a while it was going to be 1 point. He ended up, though, with a couple.
Well, Jean Lazy came in for this late pit stop, whether they needed a splash and dash, whatever the little problem was. He'd come in, but at this point, just coming around was David Coulthard, there, straight across the nose of the Prost. So 2 points for David Coulthard, but Prost still get their first championship point of the year, so it's good for them.
Got to finish off by talking about Michael Schumacher. An easy drive, really, along the Riviera for him, and nothing on the brow at the end, just a wink.
I noticed there was 4 or 5 hairs out of place, maybe. So, you know, it was a very, very hot day out there, not just for the driver, for the machinery. But it's double red for Ferrari. They did the 1-2, remember, with Irvine in '99. Done it again here with Barrichello. I think it's superb for Ferrari. It's going to be tough to catch them.
OK, Tony, thank you very much indeed. Well, our next port of call, bit of a long haul for us. We go to Canada, and you can see the qualifying 11:25 p.m. on the Saturday night. The race live at a superb time, really, 5:15 on the Sunday afternoon, and highlights just after midnight. Well, really, David Coulthard lost 8 points today. He is playing catch-up with the streetwise Mr. Monaco, Michael Schumacher, as we head for Canada. Thanks very much for watching. Good night to you all.
If you'd like to know more about Formula One, the website address sponsored by Foster's is www.itv-f1.com.